Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jodi L. Milner.
Oh, I should have had like a noisemaker or something like, yay, welcome in the new year. Yeah.
We could have kept the bells.
Well, but that was Christmas. We didn't want bells. We wanted like
I know, we need like a kazoo.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway, welcome to the new year, everyone. We made it. Yay. It's 2024. And I cannot believe that this is where we are. It seems like we just, hit the year 2000 and all of a sudden
I know. That was 24 years ago.
24. Yeah.
Those people are voting and drinking and everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, here we are. Anyway, this year has lots of potential. We've got like all of our goals that we set, and we have our wishes and dreams. I mean, all your exercise memberships that we're going to get into shape this year, right?
I believe in you.
Yes. And so let's talk. I want to talk about books and the exciting things that either are coming out this year or that you want to recommend for people to read this year, or something that you're most excited about reading this year. That's what we're going to talk about. So, there are several books that we have read that we might want to recommend, and some that are coming out that we are looking forward to. This is an episode that we talk about all the reading recommendations and what books we're excited. So, do you want me to start?
Absolutely.
Well, what books did you read this last year? I mean, what was something that you just barely read?
So the one I just barely finished was The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
Okay.
And so that one's a nonfiction. It's all about how the brain works and how our reward systems work. And that one is actually written down later in the notes.
Oh, okay.
But that was the one I just recently finished. And the one before that was The Throne of Thorns and Roses.
The Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes, Akotar.
Are you thinking of Throne of Glass?
I'm mixing the two up.
Yes.
They're by the same author.
Court of Thorns
I
and
messed that
Roses.
up. Oops.
By Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah, those are my most recent.
How many? My most recent book. Let's see. I read The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and that was a fun one. Very charmingly British. There is a series that I don't know. I found on on BritBox or something where they did 3 episodes. Maybe 6 episodes. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But it goes through this, and it's really cute. It's delightful. They did change it, of course, because, you can't not change things when you write a screenplay. But that one was really delightful. And Starter Villain, which I will talk about later.
Oh, good.
Starter Villain by John Scalzi.
Oh, I like Scalzi.
It was really fun. It was really fun. Anyway, I won't talk about that. Okay,
Don't get distracted.
I know. I will.
Stick to the outline.
I jumped a complete section here. Okay, what are your goals for the year when it comes to books?
All right, so I'm not a rabid reader. Like I can't do 5 and 10 books a month because that would leave no time for other things. So I aim for 1 or 2 books a month, depending on how long they are. And usually I alternate between a nonfiction and a fiction.
Okay. I mean, I stick with 2 books a month. That really is pretty good for me. Yeah, if I don't, and it's tricky because sometimes when I'm in the writing mode, I can't read anything within my specific genre because then my voice starts to mimic that. So I usually stay with autobiographies when I'm writing. So I tend to read a bunch of, biographies during the year because, you'll see that.
You're writing all the time, so.
I am writing all the time. I do. I'm just busy. But that when I'm writing that specific, I listen to autobiographies or I read autobiographies.
It's funny you say that, though, because I was in the middle of drafting out a novel, and I was reading a Terry Pratchett at the same time, and all of a sudden, like, because sometimes you fall into a book and you just have to consume it really fast because you're like, I don't want to put this down because it grabs you. And so I had consumed this Terry Pratchett, and all of a sudden the next 4 scenes got really funny. Just tongue in cheek, just random, like almost slapstick, funny. And I'm like, I can see how you have to be careful.
Yeah, right? How do you track the books that you read?
Goodreads is the easiest.
Yeah, that's where I put all my stuff is Goodreads. And that's where anyone can find any of my reviews or what is on my to-read list because I am constantly on there, honestly. I'm always updating and looking at new reads. So, yeah, that's where, if you're a reader, then that's where you should go for us to find us. And if you have, I'm just going to add this, if you have a book that you want to recommend to me, maybe probably to Jodi, you can recommend it on...
Maybe probably to me.
I don't know if you like this. I like it on
the only books I
Goodreads.
read are recommendations from other people.
On Goodreads, you can recommend books to people.
Ooh.
So that's what I mean. Did you know that?
Maybe.
So you could find a book that you can recommend to me. Yes.
Interesting.
And if you do that, actually, it raises the rate of the book in question. So it's good to recommend books to people because then, like if you recommend my book to people, then my rating goes higher and it has more visibility.
Very cool.
Yeah, it shows up on people's threads and everything. So it's a good way to get more books out there. Just wanted to, push that. Hurrah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about books that were coming out that came out recently or coming out recently that you have been curious about, things that you haven't really read.
I'm going to have you go first on this.
Okay. Well, there is a book. Well, as I said, I like to do autobiographies, and I like them because I like the voice of the person. If they're reading it themselves, then I'll probably read or listen to it. Like I like to listen to, what did I just, like if you do the new Barbara Streisand one, or I did like the Barack Obama one. These people are reading their own stuff, and it's awesome to hear their voice.
That is cool.
And their passion.
A Mini Driver I did last year, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I did Mini Driver last year. It's the Britney Spears one is read by Michelle Williams. Huh. And thank you for that because I don't want to hear Britney Spears read her own book.
Makes sense.
Right? So that is the Britney and Barbara I haven't actually read or listened to yet, and so those are my list. The RuPaul autobiography that is going to be coming out in like April this spring. So I'm excited about that. I enjoy RuPaul. Did you ever watch the Drag Race?
I'll see clips here and there, and they're super amusing.
I just find RuPaul completely delightful, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's refreshing to have somebody like that in our lives right now. The Alan Rickman Diaries, and there is this one. I wrote a bunch. Yeah, you can see. I printed this probably after you printed yours, so I have a
maybe.
Let's see. Dyscalculia, I think is what it's called. And that's by Kimon Felix, and she's a poet. And it's about dyscalculia is it's like dyslexia with numbers. And so I'm thinking, this is awesome. I really want to know about this, but it's a deep soul type of read. And so I have to be in a specific moment for that. Fiction, I'm looking at Yellowface. I haven't read that yet. And the Fourth Wing, by Rebecca Harris, and The Hanging City by our own Charlie Holmberg. Those are on my lists for books.
Those are good ones. I keep hearing about Fourth Wing, and so I would be interested to hear what you think about it.
Okay. Yes, I will. Well,
and so I used to keep track. I used to keep track of favorite authors and what was coming out next, and I think my life got a little busy. And my TBR pile kept getting bigger with stuff that I really did want to read. And so I never had to be really anxious or eager for the next shiny thing from the next, like there are authors that when they do put something out, I'm surprised when it happens because I just didn't know. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, yes, I will pick that up for sure. And so it's like, I don't keep track. And so my hit list of new things coming out is usually stuff that you've told me because I like your opinion. You read, you have very similar tastes to what I have.
And a lot of people follow what I am reading because I don't actually... I am curious about books myself, and there are some times when I look up like what was one of the best reads for the year or anything that's specifically in my genre. I like to look through those, but I will pick my own. I don't go by what other people have said. Now, like A Court of Thorn and Roses, people are like, you need to read this. Why haven't you read this yet?
It's come up everywhere.
So. And so I have that on my to read list. But I have, like, if you read through I did not enjoy Throne of Glass series. I stopped that. I couldn't finish it. So that's where the hesitation of starting another series by Sarah J. Maas goes. Not that she's a bad writer. I just did not like where that series was going.
Interesting.
And if you read you can read my my review on Goodreads, and it'll tell you all about the feelings there. So,
and now, a word from our sponsor.
Adri lives in Chicago. Simon is in Portland. Neither know each other in the daylight, but at night, in their dreams, they are soulmates. When an embarrassing moment throws Adri into fast clickbait, it's just the lifeline Simon needs to find the girl of his dreams. Called Sleepless in Seattle in Dreams, this audiobook is like listening to your favorite Hallmark movie. Enjoy To Dream in Daylight by Candace J. Thomas on Audible and iTunes.
All right, so those were kind of like the single books that were coming out that you're excited about. Are there series that you've been following that you're excited to continue reading in, or that new volumes are coming out in?
Yes. That's
Absolutely. Moving on to the next topic.
Well, okay. So V.E. Schwab is one of my very favorite writers. She did A Darker Shade of Magic, the whole series there. And so, which I've read and I loved completely. The Fragile Threads of Power is like a continuation of that. It's a new series, but it has the same characters evolving, a new adventure for them. And I'm very curious. I haven't read it. It's definitely been on my mind since it came out in like October or something. But I wanted to get it for Christmas. So I haven't read it because I need to leave myself open for me not buying books, but other people buying me books. So that was that one.
Great gifts.
The second in the Cerulean Sea, House of Cerulean Sea, is coming out, and that's called Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. And the Emily Wilde's, did you read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies?
Not yet.
Oh my gosh, I just love that book completely. So the second one, that one is coming out. I think it's it's called Emily Wilde's Map of the Other World, and that's by Heather Fawcett.
I think it's Other Lands.
Other Lands? Oh, yeah, I did write it right.
You did.
I just said it wrong. So, yeah, Map of the Other Lands, one word. And then I followed Jay Kristoff. Have you read any of his stuff before? Like Neverwhere and those books? No?
Not yet.
You're blinking at me, so I realized that you have not. So he's got a series called Empire of the Vampire. And so the second one of that is coming out called Empire of the Damned. So anyway, yeah, that's those are the things that I am looking forward to when it comes to series in finishing. None of those are completed. So if you are a person that likes to read completed stuff, none of that is completed. So they're all just, though I don't think that the thinking
Although they have a track record of being consistent in releasing books. Like they haven't fallen into the 4 and 5 years of not putting something out.
Yeah, that's true. No, they're very, you're right. I found the Encyclopedia of Fairies last year. I think it was released last spring. So to have another one release in just 1 year is perfect for me. I love it. So I'll follow that one. And yeah, what about you?
So I have a couple series that I am going to start working through. So I'm a completionist, which might be a negative trait. Like once I start something,
I kind of am not.
I do want to finish it so I can say, yes, I've consumed this entire package of knowledge and didn't, quit.
Sometimes are like that. Like I finished Breaking Dawn. I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I finished that one.
I did quit on Game of Thrones because it was getting, they were very, very large books and it was getting very, very complicated. And I was already watching the series and it was starting to fray at the edges of lining up the story. And so I'm like, I'm not going to keep reading this for now.
I haven't read any of those because that's a big commitment that I'm not ready to make.
They are very big books. So. But I guess the Sarah J. Maas books are also good-sized books, but I would like to work my way through the rest of those just because it's good for the research for what people in my genre are really liking.
Yeah.
And so I like seeing what she's done, and so I will probably push through and keep up with that one. I read Strange the Dreamer and fell in love with it, and I haven't picked up the other Laini Taylor books.
Okay.
And so I have to pick up more Laini Taylor because her voice and the way she describes things and the way she assembles her stories is amazingly beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I will be picking up the Smoke and Bone series.
Yes, I have read that series.
I had a feeling you had.
Yes. I love it, and it has a different flavor because I read Strange the Dreamer first, and then I picked up the rest. And have you started it yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, it has a different flavor. It has a much more young adult feel to it, and the adventure of it is more. I mean, it happens now, in this world, so it's not an other world. But I loved that. I loved that series. Good luck with that one.
I'm looking forward to it.
Any favorite authors that you are looking forward to reading?
Well, I love V. Schwab, so now you say that there's this one that is newer. I really do want to go grab that because I do love V. Schwab.
Did you read A Darker Shade of Magic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I did. I went through the trilogy.
Yeah.
So, because there's Conjuring, don't maybe name them in order.
Yeah. The Shadows, Conjuring of
Light. No, Conjuring of Magic?
Shadows.
Like you said, I liked them.
Doesn't matter. We get it. Darker Shade of Magic, but yeah.
Yeah, so I did go through the original trilogy, and so knowing that there's something that adds to that is exciting.
Cool.
So I really am looking forward to that.
For me, I read any romantic comedy from Emily Henry. I enjoy her, and I'm just kind of committed to that. I loved Beach Read, and I'm trying to think of and Happy Place. There was one that the Book Lovers, I wasn't a big fan of Book Lovers, but this new one, Funny Story, it seems like it has the same kind of writing style and comedy and weird, awkward situations, which she's always really good at. And I'm excited for that. And then Catherine Arden has The Warm Hand of Ghosts that's coming out. And I'm very excited about that. Have you read any of her scary stories, her middle grade?
No, the only one I've done is the
Bear and the Nightingale. Yeah. I mean, she's got a trilogy of these scary stories I can't remember what they're called, but I'll put it in the blog, that it is more for like a middle grade audience, maybe slightly young adult, but it's ghost stories. It's scary. It's like Goosebumpsy.
Ooh,
so cool. Yeah, this one looks like a horror. Honestly, I think it's going to keep me up at night. So I'm excited about those. Okay, what are your recommendations?
So these are from ones I've read. My favorite reads of 2023 are what I'm going to recommend for people in 2024 because they're proven winners. This one was actually a Candy recommendation, but I endorsement. But I did read it and it was fascinated. So I do recommend Piranesi by Susanna Clarke.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
It is a fascinating book. It's one of those ones that has kind of a similar vibe to like Starless Sea, where there's this otherworldly quality to it that is undefinable. Like, it's something that's completely its own.
Yeah, there is nothing like it. It was awesome.
And so I thought that one was really,
and I love
really
that
interesting.
the world itself is a character.
Yes.
It's like deeply. Like there's only this guy and this world to evolve and it's just amazing. I love that book. So
fascinating. And then the other one, which had been recommended to me for years and years, was American Gods by Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
Which is, and now I need to watch it because I'm told they made a really good, either it's a movie or a series of it. And
it's a series.
Yeah, it's a series.
I believe.
I think it's Netflix. Maybe?
I don't think it's Netflix.
I will find it.
Yeah.
But the
like
book
Max
itself, like Gaiman's writing is one of those ones that always takes me by surprise in a good way. Mm-hmm. And so, and there's a bizarro element to it that works, which makes it even more interesting. So that was one of my favorite reads this year, that and Piranesi.
That's awesome. I haven't read American Gods. I've read a lot of his other stuff, but I think I was worried about American Gods. I think if it was gritty, because a lot of his stuff can be gritty, and I was worried that might be too gritty for me. But anyway, so my recommendations. Well, first, Starter Villain. That one is delightful. Oh heavens, it's so funny. I mean, this just a base. I'm just going to add a small little thing here. So the plot basically is this guy inherits his uncle's villain business, basically. It's just so funny. It's very Incredibles, like syndrome.
Oh, funny.
It's very funny. And it was just a nice palate cleanser. Just really nice, fun to read if you want something light and fun and silly. And autobiographies, I will say The Storyteller by Dave Grohl. And I read this actually when it came out a couple of years ago. It was right before Taylor the drummer died is when I read it, actually. So it was a lot more impactful right there. Do you know even what I'm talking about?
I'm pretending that I do.
He's Dave Grohl he's like the founder and lead singer of the Foo Fighters.
Okay.
And their drummer passed away about a year and a half ago. So, anyway, The Storyteller is really good. If you enjoy music and he's just a really good storyteller. There's a story that he tells about how Joan Jett read bedtime stories to his girls. I mean, it's just hilarious.
Oh.
So the other one I would probably recommend is Tress of the Emerald Sea.
I have heard good things.
From Brandon Sanderson. That was one of the Kickstarter ones, the first one, and this is the one that he wrote for his wife. It has a very Princess Bride feel to it. It's lovely. I really enjoyed it. And in romance, I would do One Day in December, which you can read any time of the year, not just December. But they say it's called a Christmas love story, but really, you can read it any time of the year. So, those are my reads. So there you go.
Alrighty.
Yeah, you will be able to find all of these books. I'll put them all on the blog. The blog will be really simple. It's
going to be a list.
It's just be a list this time of.
It's a good list.
I think so. I hope so. So, you mentioned that you didn't get to mention, but another one I would recommend is Beyond the Wand.
Oh yeah, that's on my reading list for this year.
Yeah, Beyond the
Wand
by
nonfiction
Tom
picks.
Felton, which it's so fun to read about.
The Harry Potter hijinks.
Well, and he is more like Draco Malfoy than he actually thought. So It's just really entertaining. I really liked that one. So yeah. Any last thoughts on these?
I say, you know what? So Candy's more of the book hunter. Like she seeks out these little gems and then she hoards them in her little dragon hoard. And then if there's one she really likes, she tells me about it.
I tell anybody.
She will tell everybody.
No,
so whether you're a book hunter like Candy or if you're someone who just leans on recommendations like me, may this year's reading be full of entertainment, insights, and magical escapes.
Yeah. And definitely if you guys are readers on Goodreads and you have any recommendations, send them my way because I always love recommendations from people that I know, trust, or just that are curious, that kind of, I don't know, excite my brain is what I want to say. Yeah. So we can do lunch. We can chat books.
We can always chat books.
All right. Next episode, we have what? I don't remember.
So it's going to be our second episode in the new year. So I'm thinking it's a perfect time to talk about New Year's and new stories. Okay. So if you're going to start on a new writing project, how to get over some of those initial fears, what are things you need to consider, and what are some fun things you can do to make your project come to life? Okay.
Yes, that's a good topic because, I got some things to say.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yes, very good.
All right. Until next time.
Don't forget about our Patreon. I always have to mention this, but we love our Patrons. They're amazing. And our little buy a coffee thing is just really fun. So,
and all those links are in the description.
All right. Till next time.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jodi L. Milner. This episode was recorded at the Farmhouse Recording Studio. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone.
All right.
Do you start and stop that thing?
Yeah.
Wait, or did this?
We don't. I'm just going to push the intro music.
Okay.
For when you're ready. So stop talking.
Okay. Books. Yay, books. Let's talk about books.
Because we never talk about books on this podcast.